So, in the middle of November, when this bike arrived, we wheeled it down from the car parking area, covered it in Acf-50, put it under wraps, and have been periodically charging it up every couple of weeks. I haven't moved it, I haven't started it, I haven't taken the cover off in all that time. It is now the middle of March. That's getting on for 4 months it's been sat here, covered in Acf-50 through all the winter elements. So, does Acf-50 work? Has it helped keep this nice and tidy, or is it absolutely covered in rust underneath here? And is it actually going to start? I'm actually really nervous. So you want to find out? Keep watching. So she's out into the parking area again. You'll remember from the first ever video we did of this bike, this is exactly where it was, getting on for 4 months ago. And all I did was literally roll it back into there, cover it in Acf-50, and it's now come back out from its little kind of winter hibernation. So how well has this Acf-50 worked? I did absolutely coat it in the Acf-50. You'll have to excuse me if I'm slightly out of breath. I've just pushed this big old girl out of here because, as I said, it's covered in Acf-50 and I didn't want to start it. So what are we looking at here? You can still see some remnants there of the Acf-50. I think you'll have to agree it's looking okay. I'm not quite sure what this is here. That was something stuck in there, which I'm not sure where that came from. I don't think it's supposed to be there, though. Right, so let's have a look around the fasteners. They all look pretty good. Again, you can see the Acf-50 just sitting in that little cubby there. The calipers, again, you can see there's some remnants of it there. But generally speaking, there's a little bit of corrosion on those little bolts there. Nothing I'm going to worry about. I can get my Dremel with a little copper brush bit on the end of that. Clean those up nicely. Around here, the same sort of thing. I'll just clean that up nicely. But the stainless steel, it's looking fine, actually. I've got to say, I think it's worked pretty well. I didn't expect to see huge amounts of rust, if I'm honest, but there's not even really very much, if any, on the discs, you know, because again, I know you're not supposed to, but I did cover the discs because obviously we're going to wash the bike anyway. The one thing I did notice was the grips. I mean, look how mouldy these grips are now, but that is nearly 4 months of sitting outside in the horrible conditions that we've had this winter, 21 into 22, and we have got some issues here as well by the looks of things. I mean, I am going to change this to bar end mirrors anyway, so I don't think it's a huge issue, but look at the state of that. The Acf-50 didn't do a very good job here, and I did spray those, so that's probably the only bit that has suffered, I would say. The bolts for the screen, they look okay. Yeah, I'm not unhappy with that, you know, to be fair. It's been sat outside, as I said, in this horrible 2021 to 2022 winter months, and I think it looks okay. I'm a little bit disappointed with the wing mirrors, but as I said, we're going to change those anyway. No big deal. So what we're going to do now is put it on time lapse. We're going to give this a wash thoroughly, and I'm going to use this new little fancy device I've just bought here. It's a dryer I've bought for doing my cars and bikes, and yes, I know it's a pet dryer, don't judge me. It was actually recommended to do exactly this kind of work because obviously, if you know bikes, obviously, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this. If and when you get these little areas in here all wet and all the rest of it, if you just leave it in there, it starts to corrode stuff. So it's always better to get in there and dry it all off as much as you can. Ergo, why we bought this. Anyway, we're going to get this washed and put you on time lapse, dry it out, and then we'll come back and see exactly where we are. Pretty amazing what a bunch of soap and suds and water will do to a bike, isn't it? As you can see, it's come up pretty well. I mean, as I said, bear in mind this has been sat outside for 4 months under a cover in all sorts of weather. Even that little bit of mould around there needs a bit more of a brush over on there, but that's come up okay as well. We're going to quickly dry it with this funky new pet dryer, kind of car bike dryer thingy, and then we are going to try to start it for the first time in 4 months. That is kind of nervy for me, I have to say, because I started it the day it arrived. It's been on a battery tender ever since, and I've not started it since then. So again, we're going to go on to time lapse, we'll dry it up, and then we will give it its first start. Well, I hope you saw how well that little dryer did down there. It's so useful for getting into all these little nooks and crannies, like these little bolt holes here, especially in the tank here, because I'm sure if you're watching this, you've got a bike or have had a bike, and you'll know exactly what I mean by you wash the bike and then you drive off and it all goes bleh down here, which is annoying. I've got to get into these little bits here, but it's just literally to take this out from winter storage today and see what she looks like after 4 months of sitting in a mud puddle, basically, with a cover over it, an Acf-50. So Acf-50, should you use it? Does it work? Yes, a resounding yes, I think you'll agree here. There's really not any rust that's come up on anywhere on this bike apart from these tiny little bits down here, which I can easily sort out. So I'm quite impressed with that. There's a couple of things I've still got to do. I am going to change so many things on this bike. That's going to come in a future video. We're going to do a ride along as soon as this weather breaks. It actually looks like it's going to absolutely chuck it down any minute. So we're going to have to be a bit quick here. But I wanted to get it out today because it's the middle of March and it's been way too long thinking about this beautiful bike sitting outside there. So we've got it out. We've checked how it is after 4 months with Acf-50 sitting outside in all sorts of weather. We've cleaned it and I think you'll agree it's come up beautifully. It's such a stunning bike, and as I said, we're going to go out for a ride on it in the next video, so if you're interested in that, then do consider subscribing and we'll talk about that. And then on the final video, I'm going to do so many mods to this bike, it is untrue. I've got a new exhaust, I've got bar end mirrors, I've got new screens, I've got just so many things to go. I've tail tidy, so many things that I've bought over the winter to go onto this bike. We're going to do a whole video about the mods, but firstly we're going to ride the bike out when this weather breaks, hopefully tomorrow or the next day. That'll be the third video in this series, and we're going to talk about it as it is, stock bike. We'll go out with the camera and I'll tell you my thoughts on it, and then we'll do one last video talking about all the mods I've done and is it better with the mods, was it worth it, is it just throwing money down the bloody toilet basically. So as I said, if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing that, and you'll see all the future videos for this as well. Give the video a thumbs up, all that kind of good stuff. We're going to quickly start the bike up and see if there's any dramas there, so stand by. I think you'll agree it still sounds amazing, doesn't it? And the way it just started up straight away like that, it's idling okay, but as soon as it gets warm around about 50 degrees, pull back the throttle, and it did cut out for a second there, but I got a feeling that's probably because it's 4-month-old fuel. I don't know if it's E10 or E5 in there, so basically we're going to go off on the ride in the next video. We're going to fill it up with some of the good stuff, the Shell Super blah-de-blah or the BP Mega blah-de-blah that's best for these bikes, and we'll catch up with that. As I said, we'll have a ride along review and I'll tell you exactly how I feel about this bike, but I'm still impressed with it. I mean, as I said, it's just come out of 4-month storage and it still sounds amazing. It's going to sound even better when I get the new exhaust on there. So yeah, just keep watching and you'll see some updates to this video. Thanks for watching this one. Give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe as well. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.